I emailed 20 Labour MPs, most of them in my local area in the northeast, to ask any of them if they would like to take part in a televised interview to discuss this important subject. All of them either declined or did not bother to reply, including my own MP, Dave Anderson, who was obliged to reply within 2 weeks, but unfortunately he did not. I wanted to ask Gordon Brown in person questions about Dr. Edgar Mitchell's comments. I looked into the possibility of this, and wherever I turned, there was a stumbling block. It is almost impossible to get access to the Prime Minister to ask questions. So I decided to turn my attention to David Cameron, who is, after all, probably the next Prime Minister. The Conservatives have taken great pride in the fact that their leader is going around the country asking questions from audiences he does not know. This is called Cameron Direct, and the events are being broadcast live on the internet. One of these events would be an ideal opportunity to ask my question. Perhaps I could ask him to make a promise or a commitment to find out the facts and inform the people if he became leader. I had a look on the Conservative Party website and joined the mailing list in order to get advanced warning of when and where the future events would be. When the next Cameron Direct event occurred, I received an email 45 minutes before it was due to start. This didn't give me much time to get to Glasgow, where it was being held. It seems that these events are far less accessible than they imply on the website. I telephoned the Conservative Party about a dozen times and eventually got to speak with someone. They said that the Cameron Direct events were only open to people in the locality. They also said they had no immediate plans for having any events in the northeast where I live. Back to square one. Frustrated that no MP wanted to talk to me and unable to gain access to the party leaders, I decided to go and ask the public. I decided to try and find out people's attitudes towards government secrecy on the UFO issue. The first question I asked was, if you were told by the government that aliens and UFOs exist and have visited the Earth, and the government has known about this for the last 60 years but not told the public for reasons of national security, how would you feel? Would you forgive them? Would you rather know the truth and cope with this, or would you rather be kept in the dark?
I would feel that they're just at last telling the truth.
I wouldn't feel angry.
You wouldn't?
No, because I do believe that something has gone on for years.
Would you forgive them?
Yes.
I wouldn't. I could understand where they were coming from by hiding it because they needed to collect research if they were going to attack us and stuff.
In my survey, 38% of people were prepared to forgive the government and 48% were not.
No, I'd rather know about the subject, but I can understand their fears.
I'd rather know.
I'd want to know why they would hide such a big part of the universe from the people who helped them.
In my survey, 76% of people wanted to know all of the facts about UFOs, but 10% would prefer to be kept in the dark. I'm going to finish this episode with one of my favourite clips. This has nothing to do with the politics of the United Kingdom, but it has everything to do with the cover-up of the facts about aliens. Phil Schneider was a geologist and structural engineer and worked for the US government on Black Ops secret projects. He had his top secret clearance and was involved in building huge secret underground bases in various locations throughout the US and the world. Some of these bases are 2.5 miles deep and are in the order of 4 cubic miles in size. On this occasion, whilst drilling holes to start another underground base, they drilled into a base which already existed 2 miles below the earth. Schneider was lowered down in a basket to investigate.
Now, another thing I want to reach to you is that during the unbelievable part, I was involved in building another base inside of Dulce, New Mexico, which is Los Alamos Laboratory. It's a biological laboratory. On the southwest part of the Archuleta Mesa, we built an underground facility, a better part of 3 cubic miles hollowed out underground. Then to the southwest of that, we were in the process of the early stages of building. We drilled 4 large tunnel-like holes. Some of them ran 2.5 miles under the surface. Number of the original wells or drilling machines that were used were at the rate of up 2 miles a day. It was fairly rapid. The equipment kept coming up broken. So we wanted to go down, we wanted to send somebody down there, a human observer, or human observers in this case, to find out what was going on. Well, to our total surprise, first of all, the government knew all about it. They didn't tell anybody. When I saw Green Beret and Black Beret people encamped inside of our geologist camp, I knew something was up, the gig was up. First of all, I knew all about the alien agenda. I'll explain that in a few minutes. The large alien grays had been encamped there for as best as believed possible about 400 or 500 years. It had been one of their internal bases. And we drilled holes right on top of it. All the stinking air, all the black sooty air came right out as soon as the first hole was sunk, and all this soot came up, and well, that's when all the hell broke loose, really, all it started. Anyway, after we drilled all 4 holes, it took about 2 days to drill all 4 of them. And when you build an underground base, you drill 4 basic holes, and then you build called stopes or cross-member holes across, and then you use blasting equipment, special blasting equipment by the analyzation of the rock formation, and you literally blast out or tunnel out or deflagrate or melt rock out to build the large rooms that are required for this underground base. Well, in this process, I was lowered down the basket of one of these holes, and about from me to this elderly woman here in the front was sitting a 7-foot-tall alien gray. The stench was worse than the worst garbage can you can imagine. The person or the entity was absolutely horrible. I didn't waste any time. I reached for my pistol. At that time, as an engineer, I didn't have time to carry all the folderol of one of these big submachine guns that all the sea spray and the yellow fruit and all the outer perimeter and inner perimeter security people carried. I carried a little Walther PPK pistol with a 9-shot clip. This was in late August of 1979. Now, you got a regular suit of clothes, you got a regular clothes on, plus you're in almost like a spacesuit environment, and you're reaching for a gun. It's not the easiest thing to do, and then to pop a clip in it and start shooting. And I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal, and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish, and burnt my fingers right off of me. And it was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt burned all my toenails off of me. Completely crispy crittered my left foot, burnt the shoe right off of me. All I remember is the smoking remains, and I'm still conscious, but in and out of, I didn't remember much. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. And I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for him. I'm forever indebted.